The D2E merch store is open. There are t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies, mugs and tote bags with many cool designs. Head down to the link in the video description and get yourself your merchandise today. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program with Down to Earth Astronomy. It's been quite a while since we've been playing on this project, and I figured we'll try to take it up again. You might remember some time ago, I began building a replica of the USS Enterprise in Kerbal Space Program. And I was working on two different models. This is the smaller version. And this is of course just the saucer section. We're going to build the rest of it later. And then we have the bigger version, which as you can see is, well, bigger. A lot bigger. Now, last time I had some issues with this thing disintegrating itself on the launch pad. It was just a simple staging issue. I flipped some of the staging the wrong way around. As you can see, it has like RCS thrusters and everything, and we can actually now also fire up the engines. And that's probably going to be really loud. But we can fire up the engines and it can sit there fairly stable. It still has the docking clamps in. Of course, the problem is it doesn't really have enough thrust to lift this whole saucer section off the ground. As you can see here, when we reach the docking clamps, it slowly falls to the ground, bounces a few times on the engine bells, and eventually the RCS thrusters just can't keep up with the gravity and everything explodes, and the frame rate just goes into the sink. There we go. Okay, here we are. Let's start by just doing a simple engine test and see if we can actually fire the engines without this whole thing just self-destructing. It looks like we can. I don't see any parts heating up at the moment. Let's try to release the docking clamps and let's see what happens here. Or launch clamps. Oh, here we go. This thing will actually take off. Again, as I said, we have pretty much the same amount of thrust on this thing. But this is obviously a lot lighter. This is flying really, really well. There we go. That's us out of fuel, and of course with no kind of RCS we just begin to tumble. How high up did we get here? Okay, like 35. We're probably not gonna make it all the way to 35 because of air resistance, but that's not too bad. If we can make it above 30, then I did have an engine test where we just were burning fuel at the beginning. Cool. Okay, I think this is the design I'll go with, mainly because it's a lot simpler and a lot easier to work with, I think. Let's get this thing back in the hangar. Okay, so where do we go from here? Now, we can see on the pictures here that it kind of goes like... There's like an arm attached here somehow. That then goes backwards and down to like a larger section at the bottom. Big round thing with the blue thingy in the front. We'll have to figure out how to build that. But I think we're just going to start by putting on that arm. I was considering making this undockable, so we can dock and undock the saucer section from the rest of the ship. Okay, here we go. Docking port now installed. Now, question is, how do we build? Now, one thing I was considering is we could use like these cargo ramps to kind of emulate that. Can this will stick on there? Yeah, it will. This would kind of give us the right shape with relatively few parts. So if we just took that, like flipped that up like that, and then rotated it around like that, and then just move this around a little bit. No, not that one. There we go. Something like that, right? There we go. That kind of has the right look and feel to it, I think. It's not quite there. I think maybe even if you want to go even closer, we could go with some of those engine mounts. Ah, here they are. Structural pylon. These were the ones I was thinking about. But I'm not really sure if those would be adequate. Like, it looks a little small to me. But the problem, of course, is if we do this, is like, what's next? How do we attach anything to this? This is no attachment nodes. I mean, if we're going to take the next one... Oh, well, then it can actually go there. I actually like that. That's not too far off from what I had envisioned. Now we just need to build out something here with an even bigger structure down there. You know what? I'm just going to see if this will actually... I have a slight suspicion that this will not separate cleanly. Okay. The structural, like, it's not as rigid as I would have liked it to be. Oh god. Let's just, for good measures, let's quickly set the control point. Control from here, and can close this. Let's see what happens when we turn on the engines. Is this staged? Right, it is. Okay. Then it kind of corrects itself a little bit. There we go. What happens if we undock this now? Yeah, okay. Then we have spaceships scattered across the whole landing strip here. Okay, back to the drawing board. Okay, here we go. Rebuilt now without docking ports on. So let's just try to put this back on its tail. That's a lot better. It's still a little wobbly, but that's better. And this can probably be resolved by just putting a few struts here on the nose. I think I can add a little bit more rigidity to it by doing that. We're going to move the control point. We're going to close this up. And then let's see if this performs any better. Well, it flies, that's for sure. Okay, cool. Let's get that thing back. I think this is the approach we're going to go with. The other thing that, I mean, there's no point for me at least to have it like undocking capabilities if it's just going to disintegrate itself as soon as you try to do that. Okay, so far so good. What do we do? How do we build something that needs to be even bigger than this? This is already one of the like biggest size parts that we have. But now we need to actually widen this a bit out here. So maybe just put like 2 of them next to each other, maybe 4. Oh, so we have these structural tubes that kinda looks like they could be useful. So they are a little bit wider. It's not gonna be exactly to proportions, but it's wider. So if we attach that out here in the front, where's those structural tubes again? After playing around with it a little bit more, I think this is pretty close to what we're gonna end up with. I might actually add a... Oh, that's way too long. I'm gonna add a few more adapters here at the end to kind of close that end off a little bit. The colors are not quite right again, but overall it looks okay, and this gives us a nice platform to begin to build out the arms that's going to be holding the nacelles. But I think I'll just quickly add a little bit of lighting so we can begin to get an idea about what this is going to look like, and then try to put it out on the launch pad. And then we'll need to figure out some engine stuff. So after a bit of tinkering, adding some lights, and here we go, looking beautiful on the launch pad. I think that's going to be it for today. Next time we'll begin working on the nacelles. That's going to be difficult, I think, getting those stable, especially with engines and thrust going on out there. But that's going to be next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I will see you guys in space.